Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call today's school committee meeting to order. Today is June 28, 2022, and we are starting our meeting tonight at 7:10 p.m. As always, our meetings are being broadcast live on PAT, Peabody Access Telecommunications, and our minutes for the meeting are being taken by our recording secretary, Leanna Harris. We have a number of items on the agenda, and before we begin, though, I wanted to see if we could all stand for a moment of silence to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. If there's no objections, I'd like to go out of order a little bit today. I'd like to go out of order a little bit today, go to the superintendent's report. We have discussion we wanted to have regarding our summer foods program, and then also we have some of our amazing student athletes who are here today that we wanted to introduce and recognize. So if there's no objection, we'll go right to the superintendent's report. Okay, thank you. Dr. Vidala, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm pleased to announce that we will be bringing the summer foods program back. We have 3 locations this summer. The main branch of the library in downtown, Kate Merlin and her team have done an amazing job with making sure that this program stays alive. We are also offering meals at the Higgins and the McCarthy School. These are meals any child 18 years and under can come and pick up a free meal on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. So this is the first year that the schools are taking this program back over from Citizens Inn, so we've been working very closely with Corey Jackson and his team to make sure that this continues. This year we are doing the 2 days a week from July 12th to August 25th, and we hope to expand that moving forward. We are extremely fortunate that No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody has offered their assistance on Friday afternoons to provide additional meals for students as well. So I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Hockman, who can speak on that, but we're very grateful for No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody to help us get this off the ground.
Thank you, Dr. Vidala. I'm ecstatic that the school department is retaking this program, something that I've been advocating, I think, since I served with Mayor Bonfanti, and it was something he advocated for. Before Citizens Inn had the program, it was the library under the leadership of Martha Holden that really took this on and ensured that students or kids, it's not even our students, this program is available to any resident of the city of Peabody that's under 18 years old, whether they attend a Peabody public school or not. And Martha did a great job with this for a number of years. As time went on, we realized that it was difficult for some of the kids we were hoping to serve to actually get to the east end of town where the main library is, and we needed to branch out, and leadership of Corey Jackson and Citizens Inn, Haven from Hunger, caused some tentacles to reach to the west side of the city, and now we see the McCarthy and the Higgins in addition to the main branch library. And historically, the Welch would also be a site, the Welch Elementary School would be a site for this program, but because of the construction going on there, it's not advisable to have that as a site this year. So those are the good things. And generally, I like to keep it all positive, but there's some negatives here. And when we look at this flyer, we see that this lunch program doesn't start until July 12th. Our kids got out of school, I think it was June 16th or 17th. Last day being a half day, I hope some food was served on that day. I know we've made a point to ask food services to serve food on that day, but and this really isn't a reflection of any person or a condemnation of any individual. I'm grateful for the staff that's going to work, the food service staff that's going to work in the Summer Eats program from July 12th to August 25th. I applaud them for being available and being willing to participate in this program. But going a month And I'm not suggesting that every one of these kids is going a full month without food. That would be ridiculous. But they're coming to get a free lunch. They're going at a distance to get a free lunch, not because they want to. They're going to a distance from wherever they live to whether it be the Higgins, the McCarthy, or the library because they need to. And to put that population in a place where there's nothing available for them at all for 4 solid weeks is disheartening to me. The fact that we're, as a school department, running this program 2 days a week, 2 is better than none, I guess, so there is some positive there. But again, 2 out of 7 days to get lunch, we can do better. I know this is the first year we're taking this back, and I understand that there are going to be some growing pains, and I've already had some conversations with some folks, and we'll get there. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time, but this year, I guess what rolled out is a little disappointing to me and my board of directors at No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody, which is why we are coming forward and going to be manning the sites at these 3 locations and preparing lunches for whoever shows up to pick up a lunch so that you can have something to eat for 3 additional days. So we're going to hand out 3 lunches on Fridays at these 3 sites, and we're probably going to add a site for us, and the flyer will be amended to reflect that. We're considering adding a site on the south side of town, whether it be the South Branch Library or the South Memorial School or something like that, so that we want to get to the kids that need the food. We don't want to cause them any anguish or strife in terms of traveling or anything like that. So I'm grateful for the team of volunteers we have at No Child Goes Hungry that makes this possible. I'm grateful for the donors that we've had over time that allowed us to build up enough of a reserve that we can absorb this. We're not getting reimbursed by the federal government to do this program. It's all donor supported. It's all volunteer supported. So I'm happy to collaborate with the school department, with the library staff, and with the mayor's office in terms of getting this done. So thank you for that opportunity. So with that, let's make it known to as many kids as possible that there are resources available to them. And if they need to reach out to anybody, reach out either to Dr. Vidala or the mayor's office, or I'm happy to field questions or phone calls. Thank you for taking this out of turn. As you know, it's an important subject for me, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Thank you for your continuous work. Any questions for Mr. Hockman or Dr. Vidala? Mr. Amico?
Thank you, through the chair. Dr. Vidal, thank you for bringing this to us. Mr. Hockman, thank you for your continued work with No Child Goes Hungry. No, you're right, we can do better. We are one of 26 gateway communities. We have a lot of kids in need, and I would hope that starting next winter, we do plan for next summer. We have incredible downtown businesses, restaurants, sub shops. Dr. Vidal, we talked about it. People who always want to give your organization that you work with, Mr. Hockman, Citizens In. We have so many great organizations that just want to help out. So I envision that next year at this time, the day after students get out until the day before they return, that we would be able to provide them with some food assistance, if not 3, 4, 5 times a week. So I just want to thank everyone who's doing what they're doing right now, but you're right, we can certainly do much more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amico. Any other comments or questions at this time? Mr. Swanson?
Thank you. Through you, Dr. Vidal. How, your pamphlet, how are you notifying students or individuals that it's available to them?
Thank you. And I appreciate all the comments here. We certainly plan to begin this in December next year and really start to roll it out as soon as possible. For this year, on Friday of this week, we will be sending out an all-call and a communication via Aspen to all of our families, and we'll be doing a press release as well. But we wanted to get the updated information from No Child Goes Hungry on the flyer as well, and we'll do a letter with that press release. So that'll go out this Friday, and then we'll send a reminder on July 8th that it'll be starting on the following week. So we have multiple ways of getting it out, but we wanted to try to get it out this week so people know about it, and then a reminder right before it begins.
Awesome, thank you. And again, thank you for our staff that's standing up and helping us with this, and obviously thank you to No Child Goes Hungry as well.
Great, thank you, Mr. Swanson. Okay, we have some students here today. Let's turn it over to you and
So
Coach D.
our high school students are amazing, and we always like to bring them up. Earlier this year, we had our performing arts group come up, and we celebrated the band and their excellent performance. So tonight, we have Coach D, our athletic director, here to honor some of our spring sport all-stars. Our teams did amazing this year. Track teams, both boys and girls, were great. We had 15 students that traveled to nationals. Our boys and girls lacrosse teams both made the tournament. Our boys baseball team made the tournament. Girls lacrosse made the tournament, and our softball team went all the way to the state final. So we have a ton of kids here tonight, some kids that couldn't be, but we wanted to honor everybody, the great work that you've done, Coach D. And I'll let you say a few words about the spring, but we couldn't be more impressed with the kids this spring, and our coaches did an amazing job as well.
Is it good? Oh, there we go. So first, thank you for inviting us here tonight to acknowledge the incredible performances that our student athletes put on this season. But first, before we get that, just a quick recap of our season. What a tremendous season, and they just continued the success from the fall to the winter to the spring. 68 combined wins for our spring sports, which puts us at a 70% win percentage. Outstanding. So think about that. 7 out of 10 times we took the field, we took the track, we took the court, we were in the win column. But on top of that, you know, wins don't always dictate or show the success. We always look for progress, right? Where we started, how we finished. And me, with my former teams, I always looked at how we did the second time around. And looking at each one of these programs, that's exactly what happened. We might have had a slow start, or maybe we faltered against the team early on, but then we were successful later. And what I mean by success, it doesn't necessarily mean a win, but what's the progress? So let's say we lost 10-5, and then we come back and we'll lose 9-8. So that's a 4-goal swing in our favor, and it just shows the improvement and the effort that these players and coaches put in. So along with that 70% win percentage, we had 3 NEC titles, 2 league MVPs, numerous all-stars, and all conference players. When we look at each individual sport, we have tennis that had progressed through the year, outstanding. They actually got a very large roster this year. The coaches did an awesome job getting kids to play, as well as the captains did. They had upwards of 18 players on the girls' team, and the coaches and the captains have already recruited boys to create that boys' team next year. But they finished off their season with some big wins. Boys Lax, again, another successful season, secured another tourney berth. Girls lacrosse had a monster season, one of the best records on record. And again, after only 12 games, got a tourney berth. So boys got into the tourney, girls lacrosse got in the tourney. Boys and girls track and field won NEC titles. Both boys and girls won the NEC title, plus numerous champions at the state and the national level. So outstanding year for them. Baseball gave us an exciting weekend to finish the regular season, winning the Janulis tournament, but at the same time, the pressure was on. They had to win that to get into the tourney, and they did it, coming from behind in both games. What an exciting weekend that was. Softball, they just put the icing on the cake with another NEC title, plus making it to the Division I state championship game. So an outstanding season for them. So this was an awesome season. I was very thankful and fortunate to have a front row seat to all of these games and to watch our athletes perform at their best. So I am truly appreciative of that. So a big reason for our success is because of the student athletes that are here tonight. And what we would do is like to recognize you and award you with your league certificates. So when I call your name, please come up and receive your award. We have our Northeastern Conference All-Stars. First, we have Lauren Woods for lacrosse. Also for lacrosse, we have Emily McDonough. For baseball, the home run king, Brendan Smith. All right. For boys lacrosse, John Lucas. For lacrosse, Matthew Betancourt. For girls tennis, Jessica Chow. For softball, Gina Terenzano. For track and field, Ava D'Ambrosio. For track and field, Alex Jackson. For softball, Dr. Vidal, you're correct, a freshman national champion in throwing events. Nice job, Alex. For softball, Kylie Doolin. For track and field, Yosmeri Batista. For track and field, Lindsay Wilson. For track and field, Sean Conrad. For softball, Logan Lamazny. For baseball, Giovanni Guglielmo. Okay. All right, so that was our NEC All-Stars. Now, next we have our NEC All-Conference. And to give you an idea what the All-Conference is, when, let's say you take 10 teams and there's, let's say 250 total players, these are your top performing athletes in the league. So if you would look at lacrosse, they would take the 12 top players. So if you do that out, the top 12 of 250 kids, it's quite an accomplishment. So for first, all-conference award for track and field, Alan Polino. All-conference award for track and field, Alessandra Forgione. For track and field, Jessica Richards. For track and field, Logan Trachia. For track and field, Matthew Richards. For lacrosse, Derek Patarelli. For softball, Isabel Betancourt. And for softball, we have Abby Betancourt, who was also the league MVP. All right. There we go. For track and field, not only all conference, but also the league MVP, Savannah Vargas. For softball, Emma Bloom. For lacrosse, Brooke Lamazny. Baseball, Justin Powers. For softball, Penny Spack. For lacrosse, Michaela Fisher. For track and field, Sarah DeVasta. For track and field, Aaliyah Callahan. All conference, track and field, Sean Conrad. Thank you. For track and field, Marco DeSimone. For track and field, Michael Perez. For track and field, Peter Gardikis. And that is all of our all-conference and NEC All-Stars. Congrats.
Why don't you guys all come out, let's take a picture all together. Okay, let's go back to the regular agenda. Go to item number 2, minutes. We do have minutes from the June 14th, 2022 regular school committee meeting.
Motion to receive and approve.
Thank you. You've heard Mrs. Dunn's motion to receive and approve, seconded by Mr. Swanson. Roll call vote, please, for approval.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mr. Hockman? Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next item, approval of bills. We do have 2 warrants. I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Olympio.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 5069 in the amount of $773,345.07 dated June 28, 2022, subject to audit.
Second.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mr. Olympio for approval of warrant number 5069, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 5071 in the amount of $2,359,036.80 dated June 28, 2022, subject to audit.
Second.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mr. Olympio for approval of warrant number 5071, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll go to item number 4, continued business. Turn it to you, Mrs. Dunn. Any update on the Welch School project?
It is now a construction site. It's very exciting. The equipment was delivered last week. The scrim went up, the fencing went up, the locked access to the roof went up, and the team was there the very next morning. They were there the day that school ended, but then that next morning, they just started right in there. It really is amazing to see how fast things are already taking place at the school. So we will have our OAC meeting tomorrow, and that's a meeting where everyone working on the project comes up to speed on where everything stands. So it's actually a very interesting meeting because it's all of the details of the day-to-day operation with the time schedule, and they go right through a list of who's responsible for what, when it's being done, how is it being done, any problems. It's great, and those take place every week. And then the regular Welch School Building Committee meeting will be scheduled sometime possibly by the end of July. I don't think it's going to be early July at all. I think it will be more the end. So that's all we have, but if anybody ever has any questions, feel free to give me a call. So far, everything's going on according to schedule.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Dunn. It's great to see the activity happening there.
Oh, and if I could add one thing.
Of course.
I want to give a shout out to the 5th grade at the Welch School with Mr. McLaughlin. They do a monthly newscast. And the morning of the groundbreaking, the 5th grade was actually here at Higgins on their tour. But they had some honorary 5th graders from the 4th grade who conducted interviews and filmed the groundbreaking, and they put together their newscast. It was ready for I think it was the second to the last day of school. It is really very, very well done. The students did a great job, and the newscasters did a great job. They interviewed the mayor, they interviewed Dr. Vidala, they interviewed me, and they did a nice job. So special shout out to them.
Thank you for bringing that up. They hit me with some very tough questions. It was excellent. Put me on the spot. It was great. And a lot's going on at the Welch School. The Welch School were the champions of the 5th grade Olympiad as well. 5th grade Olympiad Welch School champions.
They provided very good sports coverage in their newscast as well. Quite a few pictures of the Olympiad, and actually it does bring up something. I'll bring it up at a Welch School meeting, but I want to make sure when we're looking at the furniture, when we have our FF&E conversations, we need a trophy case, because that trophy, we've got to measure it so we can make sure it'll fit on a shelf. So I had no idea how big that trophy was.
Go big or go home here in Peabody, Mrs. Dunn.
That's right.
And but that trophy is only for 1 year. It's not it's up for grabs next year, so we'll see.
If we put it on a really good shelf with a light on it, there'll be the intention of working to keep it every year.
Right. Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. So next item, superintendent's evaluation. I'm still waiting for a couple of more evaluations from school committee members. I'd like to hold this till our next meeting on July 13th. Is it July 13th?
It's a TBD. We have it in the agenda.
Okay. TPD. Thank you.
Could
Dr.
I ask-
Vidal, we'll go back to you for the remainder of the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We just have a couple more things. Always bittersweet to talk about retirement. We certainly miss a number of our faculty members that are retiring, but we wish them the best, and a number of them have agreed to come back in some capacity. This year we celebrate 42 Peabody Public School employees on their retirement. We sent each one of them a personal letter thanking them for their service and congratulating them, and hopefully reaching out so that they can continue in some capacity. So we had 17 Unit A teachers that retired this year, so we wish them the best. 3 administrators, 7 paraprofessionals, 9 members of AFSCME, so clerks, transportation, food services, and 6 custodians. So overall, 42 retirements, and, you know, well over hundreds of years of service to the Peabody Public Schools and to the students of Peabody. So we wish them the best and just wanted to thank them and give a public shout out of gratitude to all of our retirees, and we wish them the best moving forward. Next item, we have a donation to the PLA. So an organization called Free out of Hingham, so Free Hingham, gave us a generous donation for the care cabinets at the Peabody Learning Academy. So they brought in a whole carload full of feminine products and different things for the care cabinet. Their anticipated start date for this is August, and they plan on doing ongoing donations to the PLA. So we have a letter prepared for them, but we wanted to entertain a motion to accept this donation with gratitude and send a letter on behalf of the committee.
Motion to accept with gratitude.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mrs. Carpenter for acceptance, seconded by Mr. Amico. All in favor? That's a unanimous vote.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the next item is, in your packet, there is a draft of the school committee meetings for the next school year. July and August dates are listed as to be determined. It was brought to my attention by one of the committee members that the school committee bylaws do require 1 meeting a month, and they recommended just listing tentative dates for Tuesday, July 26th and Tuesday, August 23rd. And if there needed to be any edits, we have some time that we could negotiate. Not negotiate that, but deal with that in the normal business. So with your approval, we can add these 2 dates to the calendar, and then if there's any issues with the dates, we can adjust accordingly. Any objections?
It's not an objection, but I'm going to add another request in there. I would like to see if we could schedule something separate from a meeting, but it would be an open meeting because of open meeting law, to have the school committee meet together basically for a day away, a retreat, to get together with the superintendent and the leadership team, have someone from MASC come in and give us some good guidance on, some team building, getting ready for the new year, setting goals, and just making sure we've got everything in line for the start of the school year. So if we could, somewhere in between July 26th and August 23rd, if we could pick a date, I would say, probably set aside maybe 3 hours and see what people can work into their schedule. But I think it's important. I think we need to do it. And I would be glad to handle getting, coordinating that and getting MASC on board. Suggestions on like a location. We've done this in the past. We've done this up at Endicott. We've done this at the Learning Academy. Trying to think of where else we did this. Those are the 2 that I can remember most recently. But just throwing that idea out there.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. I think that's a great idea. Mr. Amico, I know, feels the same way. He had brought this up as you did. So yeah, I think that would be terrific for us this summer to put that together. So we'll work on that.
Excellent. I'll have Ms. Macarelli reach out to the committee and we can work on some dates. Great. Thank you. The final item is our summer programming. So pleased to say that, despite that the last day of school, many of our folks went off for the summer. We had the very next day, right after the last day for teachers, we had over 100 teachers in for professional development, and then we've already begun many of our summer programs. So we have our special education extended school year happening at the Brown. We have English language learner programming at the Carroll and the Higgins. And then we have summer school for credit at the PLA, at the Higgins, at the virtual school, Peabody Prep, and at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. So we have a number of teachers and students already working to earn credit and just working on some enrichment. We also have our 4 kids only at the Carroll, and then they're at the South Memorial this summer in place of the Welch. So the Welch is under construction, so they moved to the South School, and they were welcomed in with open arms, and so they have that program going on, full-day program. We also have Passos is running this summer, and we've partnered with the Peabody Recreation Department, and so they're doing a number of summer camps and clinics and things like that for sports and activities in the schools. And we did mention our summer foods program at the public library, Higgins and McCarthy. So lots going on this summer, and all good things. So with that, unless there's any questions, that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Vidal. Any questions on any of those topics, items? Mr. Swanson?
Sorry, on that, is the July 6th a tentative date at this time, or is that the date for our next meeting?
July 26th.
July 26th.
26th tentative, right
Okay,
now.
thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Now I'll open it up for public participation. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and speak? Have that opportunity now. Okay. All right. Nobody here?
Seeing no one online?
All right, thank you. Next, we'll go to written communications. We do have a few written communications today.
So, Mr. Mayor, we have written communications that are in relation to a number of items on the superintendent's report. We have the donation form from Free Hingham. We have a list of the retirements. We have the draft of the school committee schedule for the upcoming school year, and then there's a communication from Michelle Baker that is also in your packet.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept those 4 specific written communications.
Further motion by Mrs. Dunn to receive those 4 communications, seconded
To
by Mr.
receive, I'm
Swanson.
sorry, I was wrong. To receive.
To receive, yep. All in favor? That's a unanimous vote. Okay, subcommittee reports. Education Subcommittee?
Thank you, through the chair. I'll schedule something for late August with Dr. Chase. I'm sure there's a lot going on with PD and other things that she'll want to report on, so we'll do that, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miko. Finance, Mr. Olympio?
Nothing new to report.
Thank you. School safety, Mr. Olympio?
I'd probably schedule something, maybe sometime the end of August, before school starts.
Athletics and wellness? We'll hold that committee report. Quality and standards, Mrs. Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report specifically tonight regarding policy. However, I would like to make a suggestion. This is, I really think that we need to work on the evaluation process for the superintendent. I think we should start now for next year so that we can set a calendar and work with Dr. Vidala to make sure that we have things all set in place so that everything goes smoothly, so there aren't any delays. I have a lot of notes about it, about how, we probably should really standardize it, because this year was different than last year was different than the year before. We need to have some kind of a good process, and I was wondering if that would be something that you would like Quality and Standards to look at and put together for everyone to decide, but it's definitely something we need to work with the superintendent on.
I think that's a great idea. That'd be very helpful. Thank you,
Okay.
Mrs. Dunn.
All right, I'll get together with you, Dr. Vidala, and go over the notes, and thank you.
Okay. Parent and student advisory boards, Mrs. Dunn?
A letter is email is going to go out to all of the PTOs regarding the schedule for parent advisory board meetings. Those are going to be put on the calendar with speakers. I've been lining up speakers for the monthly meetings. I'm also going to invite the PTOs to come and try to restart the citywide PTO. That was a really nice initiative. Kind of fell by the wayside a few years ago, and then with COVID, everything changes. But I think that it would be a good thing to have, where the citywide PTO would be able to just work together. It's really, the way it operated before was more of like a support group, where the PTOs could share ideas about fundraising. They could compare calendars and coordinate when they were having events. And it worked out very, very well. They met basically, they first started out once a month, and then they went to every other month, because there's a ebb and flow to all the activities with PTOs, and they worked around their own calendar. And I think it would be a nice thing to have that come back, and to help the parents to be able to strengthen those PTOs. So I'm going to put that together, and then we will have our first meeting in September. I just need to hear back from people so we don't interfere with their normal PTO meeting date. So I have to schedule around 10 PTOs.
That's terrific. Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Building and Grounds, we'll hold that subcommittee report also. Special Education Parent Advisory Board, Mr. Olympio?
I plan on having our first meeting in September. Welcome everybody back.
Terrific, thank you. City Council and Legislative Delegation?
Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Carpenter. And Redistricting, we'll hold that subcommittee report also. Okay, so our next meeting will tentatively hold July 26th for the next meeting. If there's changes, we will certainly get the word out and publicize that meeting. And any new business will be handled in the regular course in terms of getting items on the agenda. So thank you. Busy year for all of us. Lot to work on for next year, but I appreciate everybody's efforts in this room. Job well done. So, all right, move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everyone.